Hi there, and welcome to Lesson 11, Messages. And in this lesson, we're going to be continuing on from lesson number 10, looking at components. And in this particular lesson, we're going to be looking at the interactive side of components. How you can leverage components to be interactive, and the way that Protopie handles sharing the interaction or connecting multiple components together interactively is by the usage of something called messages. So messages may seem a bit of an unfamiliar term, but that's effectively what they are. Protopie is always striving to take the technical aspect out of the naming of things where it can. And if you think about it, we're going to be taking one component and we're going to be talking to another component. So we're going to be sending messages around, and depending on what those messages are, we're going to action stuff. Okay, so all will become clear as we get through this particular lesson, don't worry. Okay, so we've got a prototype all set up. So I've got a prototype that's just got our dialogue from the previous lesson, and it's asking me what my name is, and then when I give it my name, there's going to be some magical fun screen that's going to pop up, and it's going to populate my name into this second screen. So you can see Smiley's back. We've got Smiley back for this final video. Have a bit of a crescendo to this super fast quick start into Protopie, and we've got this label over on the right hand side in our page 2, and I've just put some placeholder text in here so you can see it. So we're going to have a message that says, hey, whatever I type in, hey name, welcome to Protopie. Okay, so let's have a look and see how we do this. Okay, so from the previous video, we created three components. We created a component for our input field, our text field. We created a component for our button, and we created a component for our dialogue, and we nested those two components inside. So specifically, we're going to be adding some messaging into our two nested components so that we can grab the message from inside of this text component, which is nested inside this dialog component. So it's kind of hidden away in the black box, and we can't get to it without using messages. And we're going to find that text value, we're going to bring it out to the surface into our scene, and we're going to push it into this label over here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go to our components flyout, and we're first going to deal with the button. So I'm going to double click on the button component, and we're going to add a tap trigger. And to this tap trigger's target, it's just going to be the whole component. So we're just going to select the whole button component here. And when the user taps this component, we're going to add a response. And the response we're going to add is send. So we're going to send a message out. Okay, so the message we're going to send, it can be absolutely anything you want it to be. You can type any message. It can be uppercase, lowercase, upper and lowercase. The only thing I would say is it is case sensitive. So if you do type it in upper lower, you need to make sure that you reference it in exactly the same way. Just to kind of take the upper and lower out of the equation, I'm just going to type all my messages in caps, and I'm going to type a message, and he instantly does it in lowercase. Let's put caps lock on. I'm going to type a message, and he's done it again. What's going on? I must have just turned caps lock off. Okay, here we go. We have a message that just says tapped. Okay, so when I tap the button, I'm going to send a message called tapped, and I'm going to send it to a particular place. So just above the message, you can see this drop down called channel, and I'm just going to open up that for a second. I want you to ignore bridge and all those things underneath that. Don't worry about that. That's a completely different feature. What you're interested in is the 4 options under the title Inside Pi. And just to let you know, you can send messages from lots of places to lots of other places. because of the way components are structured in Protopie, we do have a parent-child relationship. So a nested component is a child of the components it is inside of, which is its parent. Our dialogue is a parent component, the button is a child component, but then the dialogue itself is a child of the scene. So there's this hierarchy that we've got inside of Protopie. So you can send messages to parents and children and also within the component you're working in as well. But we're just going to deal with send to current scene. It's by far the easiest one to grasp, and I suggest you just get used to that one first. So, and that's normally what's selected by default as well. So we're just going to leave it to send to current scene. So we're going to send this message tapped to that scene. Okay, so that's all we need to do in this particular component. We're going to go to our components flyout, and we're going to go into our text field component. I'm going to double click on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a different trigger. We're going to add a receive trigger. So we actually want to get that message we've just sent and we want to receive it inside of this component. So we use the receive trigger. And again, we've got the channel drop down and it's asking us where do we want to receive the message from. So same options, but we want to receive it from the current scene. Because we're sending it to the current scene, we want to go to the current scene and receive it. Okay, so we're going to receive that message, and what message are we going to receive? So we can just tap into this box and we're going to receive the message we sent, which is tapped. So we want to type that in. So we want to receive the tap message and then we want to do something with it. So what we're going to do with it? Well, we're going to actually send another message. So we're going to choose our send response. We're going to send this to the current scene, and what we want to send is the value of the text field. So within this send channel, we're going to send this message, and we're going to call this message text. Okay, so we're going to send a message called text, and this is the important bit. We actually want to send a value, so we're going to check this box called send value together. And we're going to tap into here and we can see that we've got access to formulas in this box. So we're going to tap on the FX and we're going to tap on the plus button and we're going to choose our input field. And this should be familiar to you if you've gone through all of the lessons. We're going to tap a dot and we're going to look for the input field's text value. So we're going to choose the input field's text value and we're going to click OK. Okay, so just to go through this again, we're going to receive a message called tapped. We're going to receive it from the current scene. That's going to trigger this send response, which is going to send a message back to the scene, a different message. This message is going to be called text. And with that text message, we're going to send the value of the input field. So that's the value that we've typed into our text field here. Okay. So we're all done here. We're going to come back to the scene. So we're going to come out of our components and we want to now receive that message, that text message. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a variable and we're going to call this name because I'm going to be typing my name into this variable, and it's going to need to be a text variable. So we've got our name and we're going to now add a trigger and we're going to add a receive trigger. So we want to receive the text message. So with the receive trigger selected, we leave it to receive from current scene because that's where we sent the message to. And if we select in this box, we can see there's two messages we have access to. Two messages are being sent to the scene, the tapped message and the text message. So we're going to choose the text message because that's got the text that we want. And we can't access the message directly. We have to assign it to a variable first before we can get access to that value, which is why we've created this variable in the first place. So what we need to do is we need to check this box, assign to variable, and we need to choose our name variable. Okay, so when that message gets received, Protopie is going to take the value that's sent with it and it's going to assign it to this name variable. Okay, so the final thing we need to do is we want to assign the value of the name variable into our label here. So we've got this label inside of page 2 called Hi, What's Your Name? So to do that, we're going to add a response, and we're going to add a text response. And we're going to target our hi, what's your name text label, and we're going to change it to a formula. And we're going to use formulas again to construct the message. Okay, so we're going to tap into our input field, we're going to hit FX, and we're going to hit plus. And what we're going to first do is we want to type the parts of the message that we know that are going to be common. So we got hey, welcome to ProtoPie. So to do that, we're going to need to construct a text message with different bits. So we're going to type the text in first, and to type text into a formula, let's just get rid of this. We need to type some double quotes. Okay, so we're going to type double quote hey, and we're going to put a space here because our variable's not going to have spaces around it. It's just going to have the value that we type in. So we need to kind of insert these spaces. So we're going to do it on either side of the name. So we're going to tap a space, and then we're going to close the quote marks. We're then going to add a plus. So we want to add some text to some other text. So that's basically going to bring it all together into a single message. And what we want to add is our variable called name. Okay, so hey plus name. So we're slowly constructing this message. And then the final bit we want to add is another bit of text. The same way as we did hey, we're going to type welcome to ProtoPie exclamation mark, and we must make sure we close those quotes. Okay, so we've constructed this formula, which is going to basically stick together this hey word with a space. It's going to add whatever we typed into the input field, which has been saved to the variable. We're then going to add, we need to add another space here on the other side. So we need to add space, welcome to ProtoPie, and that's all wrapped in quote marks. And we've now successfully constructed our message. Okay, so there's one final thing we need to do. I want to be able to navigate from page 1 to page 2 when we get that message. So we're going to add another response here. We're going to add our old friend, the scroll response, and we're going to select our pages scroll view, and we want to scroll to a particular point. If you've done all the videos through, this will be familiar to you. So we don't want to be messing with particular X values. We already know that we can grab that from the page 2 container's X value. So we're going to hit FX once more. We're going to hit the plus button. We're going to find the page 2 container. We're going to type a dot, and we're going to find its X value. So we're going to scroll to page 2. Okay, so that's everything. Let's preview this and let's see if it works. Fingers crossed. Okay, so we're going to select, type your name. I'm going to type my name. And then we're going to tap send. And voila, we have successfully created a prototype using messages. I've taken the text from one component, which I typed in through the input field. I've passed it out of that component into the scene. I've picked it up by another element in the scene. I've created a formula to wrap that message, and then I've moved the screen on, and you can see we've got this very mad smiley jumping bean animation going on, which I didn't show you how to do because it was nothing to do with formulas. So this about wraps up our look at ProtoPie. So hopefully you can see through all of these videos how amazingly useful ProtoPie is, how cool it is, how you can do some really cool things. This should give you enough information to get you started, to get you playing around with ProtoPie, trying out your own designs and trying out your own things. So I hope this is really going to help you, pick up ProtoPie and start using it. If you want to find out more about what you can do with ProtoPie, do check out other videos on my YouTube channel. That's Protopilot. If you're watching this on the channel, then you're already there. If you're watching this on Udemy, then you can check out Protopilot. If you're watching this on YouTube, then just to let you know that I've got a full beginner's course on ProtoPie in Udemy. called Total Protopie. It's also available on Skillshare, and I actually have a website with it on as well, which is protopilot.co.uk. That's a subscription service, so you can get that course with lots of other things as well. You get all the source files there as well, which is something that I don't give you on YouTube. Okay, so that about wraps up this course. Hopefully it's given you like an insight into what Protopie can do, and it's given you the impetus to maybe pick it up and learn this new tool. Okay, so this is me, Darren Bennett, signing off, and I'll hopefully see you next time.